Hello everyone, my name is Winged Supernova, and today we are going to be talking about ARMS characters and Smash Brothers. Now everyone is fully aware that during the last Nintendo Direct presentation, an ARMS character was announced as the next fighter for Fighters Pass 2. And so today we're going to be talking about which character I think has the most likely shot at being the ARMS character, the other possibilities that could conflict with that, and what that character's inclusion in Smash means for the rest of DLC Fighter Pass 2. So when they showed the splash screen right after they announced that the character was from ARMS, they had a screen up that said which one of these characters is going to be the next fighter, and they had pictures of every single character that was playable in ARMS, both the downloadable content characters and the base roster. And the debate has raged on from there. Many people have thrown their hats into the ring, trying to vouch for a certain character that they like more than the others. I've seen a lot of support recently for Twintel. There's a bit of Ninjara support, some Ribbon Girl support, but personally the two characters that I think seem the most likely are Springman and Min. Now why Springman? Springman's an assist trophy, a Mii costume, and a spirit in Smash already. Why would they pick Springman? Well, Springman is the face, the poster boy of ARMS at the moment. He really, ever since the first trailer that they showed at the Nintendo Switch showcase before the system was even released, Springman and Ribbon Girl were the two that really drove the marketing push for ARMS and have really been on the cover and everything. The whole series has been about Springman and Ribbon Girl. They've been like the Ryu and Ken for ARMS, really. So it would not surprise me if they just took the safe approach and showed Springman. But the odd part about the way that they're revealing is that they're either just stalling for time because they're not ready yet and they're waiting until June to get this done, which is a very valid possibility. But the way that they're delaying it and the way that they were like, which one of these fighters is gonna be it? Ooh, makes me think that Springman might not be the character that they're going to choose. And other people have brought up a couple of other possibilities. Those being that possibly an ARMS 2 is going to get announced and they'll reveal the main character from that game, or it's going to be sort of a hero situation where they pick 4 characters that could fit into one ARMS representative and you can switch between 2 alternate costumes for each of those 4 characters. I think that makes some sense, especially considering that you have Springman, Ribbon Girl, and then let's say Ninjara and Min. All of those 4, they have similar body types. They would be able to sort of fit them into one slot, I feel. But I'm not feeling that one. I don't know why, but it just doesn't seem like that will be the path that they take for this fighter. And the reason I don't think that they're going to do an ARMS 2 representative is because this is a fighting game series. I don't know why they would change the main character just right off the bat, unless it was like, oh, this is 30 years in the future and Springman's son is around, or some weird stuff like that. I don't think that's going to be the case, though. This IP by itself, it didn't sell gangbusters. It sold decently enough, a few million copies, but it didn't sell, I think, to the measure that they were hoping that it would sell. Not enough to establish itself as a very long-running mainstream IP for Nintendo in the future. So I feel like with an ARMS 2, the direction that they would take in developing that game would probably see a lot of the characters from the first ARMS return, and then maybe add a few new characters, but mostly focus on diversifying the gameplay, which was the main issue for me and a lot of other people when it came to the first ARMS. So now we arrive at the character that I feel has the highest likelihood of being included, and that is Min. And the reason that I think that Min has the highest likelihood is pretty much because she won sort of their final Splatfest for ARMS. She won the Party Crash Bash tournament that pit every single character that they released in the entire game against one another in an online tournament. It took quite a long time, I think about 6 months to complete, and at the end, Min Min beat Twintel in the semifinals, who I've seen a lot of vocal support for. She beat her by like 7%, it wasn't close. And then she beat Ninjara in a pretty close battle in the finals to be crowned the champion. And the odd thing, I don't really buy into this sort of thing usually, but on the event page, under the Switch News tab, if you went to the Party Crash Bash, it says that whoever wins the tournament will be crowned the ultimate champion. And that doesn't... The wording sort of alludes to a possibility that this is all going to feed into a Smash Ultimate character. I don't really buy into that sort of rhetoric. I think it's a little bit reaching for sure, but I do feel like this tournament probably did sort of help Min Min be included in Smash Ultimate. It finished around the beginning, well actually, it finished around June of 2019, which would have been middle of Fighters Pass 1. So at that point, I feel like a lot of people had already bought in the Fighters Pass, and there are plenty of indicators that Nintendo might have already at that point known that they wanted more DLC fighters. So with an internal development team like the ARMS development team, you could just easily go over to them and be like, okay, well, we're going to want a character from ARMS in Smash Ultimate's second wave of DLC. What character do you want in? And they're just like, look, we're having this big tournament right now, and Min Min is the winner. I think that she's probably the fan favorite. If you want the fan favorite, I'd go with Min Min. Otherwise, try Springman, I suppose. There's no indication that that's how it went down, but personally, it seems very plausible in my eyes. And on top of all of that, Min Min's moveset and her special abilities that she has in the game would translate into a Smash moveset so well. Her two main things are that she can kick in the air and block one of her opponent's punches, and I think that would translate into Smash really well. She could either block one of her opponent's attacks in mid-air, which would be absolutely insane. And then on top of that, she has the ability to turn one of her arms into a dragon, and it shoots a giant laser when it's fully charged. So I feel like that could definitely bring a little bit of flavor to Min Min that other characters could not have. And other than that, she's a female representative. We've been wanting more female representation in Smash Brothers. I'm pretty sure that the Smash Ultimate development team are aware of that, so adding Min Min in it's just a free shot for more female representation in the game, something that Smash Ultimate's first DLC pass was sorely lacking other than female Byleth, but she wasn't a standalone female character. She was male and female Byleth all put in one, so I feel like this would be a good nod towards people that really wanted some sole female representation in Smash. And lastly, what does this mean for Smash Ultimate's DLC cycle? Well, Min Min, Ninjara, Springman, Ribbon Girl, and Twintel are all currently in the game as spirits, and really, out of those 5, all of them are likely. Most of the other characters that aren't in the game as spirits, I don't see as likely. Maybe Max Brass. Maybe Max Brass has an equal shot with all of those 5, but other than that, I don't see them adding any other different characters, so if one of those 5 gets in, that would break the arbitrary fan-made spirit rule that spirits could not be playable in DLC if they were spirits in the game whatsoever. And I find that absolutely ridiculous. I've always found it ridiculous in Smash 4. Mewtwo and Lucas were trophies in the base game, and then the first DLC character was, of course, Mewtwo, and one of the next DLC fighters was Lucas. It just absolutely makes no sense to me. But let's assume for a moment that the spirit world is going to be broken. What does that look like down the line for Smash speculation? And if you look at it, there are quite a lot of series that are represented in Smash right now that would be back on the table should that spirit rule be broken. You've got Bandanity, Paper Mario, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Rhythm Heaven. You've got so many first-party series that get put back on the table. And on top of that, you've got 3 of the more well-talked about characters in Smash speculation that are currently spirits at the moment, those being Geno, Shantae, and Rayman. Shantae's got a new game coming out at the end of May, which would keep her relevant in the Smash discussion. Geno is still incredibly popular. I still see just as many people predicting him for Fighters Pass 2. And Rayman, of course, Ubisoft, with Byleth's reveal, released a couple of interesting Mii costumes alongside her, those being Altair from the Assassin's Creed series and the Rabbids, of course. Which means that because there's no Rayman costume, maybe Sakurai's holding out so that he can add Rayman in down the line. It's possible. There's still a lot of fans looking for him to be playable, so I could definitely see that happening. So in the end, we don't know really too much about what ARMS character is going to be playable, but what we can discern from what ARMS content is already in Smash makes the whole next few months to a year of Smash DLC speculation a lot more interesting, and that is very exciting. And that's going to do it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe. I have a Fighters Pass 2 predictions video in the works at the moment, and I definitely want you guys to stick around for that. I'm hopefully going to have a lot of cool things put in that video. But other than that, thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you in the future.